So yes, that was, the idea there was, it was good news from the standpoint that we got to reimburse them, as it stands, that we, as our attorneys, Miller Canfield had, bond counsel, or TIFA counsel had, given the opinion letter to all of us that we were, appropriate in our process, in doing so. But we knew that simultaneously with us going towards the court, legislation was being moved at the state level, so that, hit a couple days after the judge's ruling. So we've got that Thursday, Friday last week or so, and obviously he signed today, from my knowledge. So
Okay.
he made some
Madam
spot
Chair?
news edits today.
Mr. Staples?
I just would like to say that the newspapers in this situation really sent bad messages as far as Tifa and Brownfield are concerned. One phrase they used the other day was that so that the politicians could have fancy streetlights. The amount of good that Tifa and Brownfield have done to this city is tremendous. If you look at Telegraph Road and the way it looks now and the way it looked a few years ago, a large part of that was Tifa. Not to mention the jobs that were created over the 5-year program that it took to redevelop that road. The fact that now businesses can move in without hooking up into sewer lines that were in the middle of the road. And there's just tremendous amounts of things. Water that's not in your basement. And the newspapers did not point that out, the good that those programs did. It just made it look like that we were stealing money from the poor animals in the zoo. And that was the shame of it. They did not present the truth. So.
Thank you, Mr. Staples. Anything else, council? Okay. Yes.
Butramic, Monroe Street, Taylor. Tonight, with the presentation we saw tonight in reference to the firefighters' turnout gear, I thought it was outstanding. It was a great thing. That's a quick step and hopefully in the right direction. It's been discussed among this council over and over and continues to be discussed for quite a while now. Basically what I'm saying is that you must continue to find a way to find this turnout gear. In our jobs in public safety or in the military, the day you enter that job, the scales begin to tilt away from you toward bad luck. You can serve so many years, but the scales begin to turn for every day you go out on a run, every day you fight a fire, or every day in the armed forces you confront the enemy. That means that your chances are changing every day. The last few months, the changes of our firefighters continuing to fight fires in turnout gear that is outdated is jeopardizing our firefighters to include the pressures that they must have, but they still enter these locations fighting fires knowing that their turnout gear is basically helping turn the scales even further for them. I've heard things, last night's meeting I'm not going to talk about, that's past. We must continue to move to the future and make these changes. I made a phone call today to West Shore Fire in reference to turnout gear for our firefighters. And I know it's expensive. The average cost of a total turnout gear, and that's with helmet, the mask they wear, all their gear, their boots, it comes to $133,000. Yes, that's a lot of money. Each firefighter, 56 of them, comes to an average of $2,375 each. Now, what is a life of an individual? What is that worth? That should be your number one priority. What is life to all of us worth? And yes, I know there's hardships, and there's hardships on this council to find the money to do so. But I ask you to continue to find a way to do this and find the money. Because sooner or later the scales are going to tilt, and we're going to lose somebody. And all the sorries that you say, or we tried, does not bring back anybody. All those pretty lights you see, the police cars, the fire trucks with their lights, to bury someone, oh, it's beautiful. But it's not beautiful for the families and those of us that have served, because you can't bring them back. So with that being said, yesterday I began to ask people to help me. And I'm going to help everyone. I'm going to ask everyone tonight to help again. And I'm getting a lot of volunteers. We're going to raise the money. We're going to do everything we can. I don't care if it's one outfit at a time. That's one less person we have to worry about if a terrible mistake occurs. But we're going to do it. And we're going to raise money, and we're going to outfit these people and make their jobs safe. Thank you.
I think we saw our community coming out tonight already, the groups that came up, and that effort is being made, the high school graduate from Kennedy and the Sword family. It's pretty awesome. So that's great, and sometimes it takes that, a community effort, yes.
Good evening. My name is Joanna Hardesty, and I'm here representing Wade Shows. A couple weeks ago, I submitted a request to be added to the agenda regarding an event that we would like to host at Gibraltar Trade Center over the 4th of July weekend, and apparently I was just a little bit too late to make it to the agenda, so I'm here this evening to ask that you consider our request. I've submitted it to all of the council members, so you do have that information, or you did have the information, and so I'm here making that request and to answer any questions or address any concerns you might have.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Brandana?
through the chair, I'd like to ask the, I'm sorry, your name again?
Joanna
Joanna?
Hardesty with Wade Shows.
Can you spell your last name, please?
Hardesty.
Can I ask what the reason was that you missed the deadline?
I missed it by 27 minutes. I submitted it at 12:27, and I understand now. It was, I take full responsibility. I made the assumption that the deadline would be at close of business on Friday, and it apparently is at noon, and I submitted it at 12:27. So,
Because I know that Wade Shows does quite a few, carnivals and things, so,
And what were the dates of the carnival that you were, if you're done, Ms. Brandana?
I am.
they are July 3rd through July 7th.
I'm sorry, 3rd through 7th?
Through 7, yes.
Madam Chair, if I may too, at that time, nothing had been submitted to the building department. Myself, I'd have to go through risk management to get approval of insurance certs. I know we've done business before, and I hated to do that, but you have to understand, this is my extremely busy time. It did come in, I was locked out of the system. I've been coming toward, to council with all these carnivals. It's always been like, well, the mayor, I've been past the deadline quite a bit because it's been difficult getting the, proper certificates. And so this one came in past the deadline. Nothing had been submitted to building, so that would have been another problem. There were just too many steps that were missed.
Can I ask, is the 12 o'clock time she referencing as far as putting for the
Yes.
council
Yes.
agenda?
Yes.
So again, that's 2 weeks before, and none of that stuff had been done. So she, Madam Clerk would be submitting basically something into the system that had none of the documentation
Right.
for the processes and the steps. So, I know.
Normally, they're given to me, and they've already been to building department through special permits, and all that has been done already. So this would have already, that would have all had to been done on top of asking for permission to get into the agenda.
Madam Chair, has that,
Ms. Fitzpatrick?
excuse me, has that been done yet? Has everything been approved or no?
No, at that time, I just told my deputy clerk to say that, it was past the deadline, nothing else had been done. If it was like the other carnival where everything else had been approved but me, then it's easier for me to come forward, but with nothing else been approved, it was like starting at square one and having to go.
And so it's still not
forward.
approved now?
Nothing has been submitted to the
And Madam
building.
Chair.
We couldn't vote on it tonight.
Administratively, we respect, obviously, people's, the opportunity to do that. But
Right.
because a window of time opens up to throw a carnival back into another location, and no disrespect to what the operation that they run and the business that they do, doesn't mean that, we just plop it back down and do it. I mean, they've been in the city most of the summer, operating. So if they did, pre-schedule an entire season to kind of come up with that schedule for the city and be able to do that. I think they spent 2 to 3 weeks in March, April, May or something to that effect at the same location. We don't know whether or not, I think the question was asked, whether or not it benefits, any group or whether it's just, making money for, the property owner, getting a payment to that effect. I mean, because again, most of them piggyback. So those are things I think we, as a city need to look at. I know Ms. Fella's been doing some research again because understand and because this is a topic being brought up right now and the information that Ms. Fell has, and again, no disrespect to the company, the concern that we're having now administratively is that our fee for hosting carnivals is way below any other community, and it's, I don't know if it's attracting them to us, so she's doing research to get back up on that to where we might have to amend our fee schedule and look at how we operate that process so that